Okay. And I'm going to share Google Chrome. So first thing that we need to understand is why are we learning Python, right? Why do you think Python is so popular programming language? There are multiple reasons. Okay. The first reason is it's very easy to learn. Okay. It's very, very easy to learn. And when you go along, you will see that it does not have a lot of restrictions. It's very close to English language. Okay. It does not, you don't have to write main, you don't have to write bracket. Okay. All those things are not required to be done in Python. It's easy and it has a lot of libraries. Okay. So these libraries are like features. And what happens is when you are you require to work, let's say, creating some networking related stuff. Let's say you want to read IP address, you want to read the packets. There's a different library which will allow you to do that. You want to do automation, right? There's a different library which will allow you to do that. You want to perform certain other things, like we'll do data analytics, data science. You have different libraries which has capabilities. So, so Python is using Python, you can almost in every field you can use it. Okay, and that's why people who are, in fact, people who are from non-IT field, they learn Python because that IT is just an enabler, right? We have doctors, lawyers, they are learning Python because it will help them to automate stuff, their work. Okay, so that's why Python is popular. Okay, first thing that you all of you should be aware of is this python.org website. Okay. So, so just be aware of this. This is your, if you don't remember, python.org. In Google, if you type Python, this is the first link that you will get, python.org. Everything that we need is available here. So, of course, first you need to download Python for our work. Okay. But what is a programming language? Since all of you are from, IT backgrounds, I don't have to get down to the details, but just to reiterate, programming language means it's a way of communicating to machines, right? You have machine which is very powerful, they can work 24/7, blah blah. So how can we make use of machine? To make use of machine, we need a language. Just like I have to communicate to you in a language, okay? So we are using English as a language, right? We are using Hindi as a language. So these are your what we call as human languages, right? Similarly, we have C, C++, Java, Python. These are all high level machine level language. Okay, high level machine language or computer language or programming language. So whether it is machine language you hear, or programming language or coding language, they all mean the same. So when you download this, okay, you see on python.org, you'll have download option. Okay, and then this is the latest one, 3.12.1. Okay, if I assume all of you are on Windows, you can go and download this. Okay, if you are using Windows 7, okay, then you have to download 3.9. I'm sure all of you would be using higher than Windows 7, right? Windows 10, 11, at least 10. But yeah, if you're using 7, then you can't download this latest version. You have to go down to 3.9, which is also fine. Okay. So by default here, you have, download for Windows, but you can choose your operating system here. Okay. If you're using Mac, you can go to Mac version. Linux, you go to other platforms. Okay. If you download 3.9, then you go to Windows here, and then you can actually scroll down. You will see all the different versions here. Okay, 3.9.8, okay, 3.8, right? So you have all these versions here, 3.8, 3.10, okay? You can pick and choose your version and install and start using it, okay? But I would recommend that you always go with the latest version. So you know what the latest features in Python, okay? They have also planned it. Every 6 months, they release a new version, okay? So this is pre-release. So hopefully this will be available. You can download and use it. Okay, you can download and use it, but this will be made available. So this is like pre-release means uh, there could be some errors also in this. So if you are using for developing applications, then we don't recommend this. Okay, if you are building your application, then we don't recommend 3.13. But if you are practicing learning, then yes, you can download 3.13 also. Okay. So go download, and it will download exe, and just double click on the link. Okay. I'll also share a video which will talk about how to download Python. Okay. I'm not going to do it because I already have 2-3 different versions of Python. I don't want to install one more version, but this is like software, installing any other software, right? Very easy. So download and install it. Okay. Just keep one thing in mind. Just keep one thing in mind. When you download, okay, when you download and when you double click on it, on the very first screen, okay, you will have an option. Okay, let me uh, type it here. Installing Python. Okay, anyway, this is getting downloaded. So okay, these are all videos. Okay, let's go to this. Yeah, our EX is anyway ready. Okay. Okay, so I'll actually add this link also. Can you see my screen here? Install Python 3.10. Guys, can you see my screen here?
Yes, sir.
You see this option, two option. This is your first screen, okay? When you double click on exe, this is the first screen that you will get. You check both the options, okay? You just select both the options, okay? And when you select both the options, that's it. And then just say next, 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 next. It's all about next, 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 next. Okay, and your Python is installed. So I'll add this link also so that you are aware of this link. Just save it here. Python installation link. Okay, so when you download it, okay, then you go to command prompt, cmd. Okay, so you say command prompt, you are on the screen. Okay, you will have screen like this. Okay. This is to test whether your Python installation is successful or not. If you do not check those boxes, okay, and then you install it, let's say you forgot. It happens, right? You might forget. So when you forget and when you install it, then you can only run Python from that Python home where Python got installed. So let's say if you install Python in C program files Python, then you have to go to C program files Python to run it. Okay. But if you check that box like add exe to the path, then you can run Python from anywhere. Anywhere you type Python, okay, you will see this triple angular bracket. Okay, that's the difference. So if you do not check that add exe to the path, then you can only run from where it is installed. You cannot run from anywhere. You have to go to like you have to change the drive and go to like C program files, Python, and then you say Python, it will work. Okay. If you type here anywhere else, if you type, it will say unrecognized command. And when you go to uh, and when you check that box, add exe to path, that you can go to any location and say Python. And when you click on Python, you will see this triple angular bracket. Okay, that means Python is installed successfully, one, and then you can do your Python program from here. Okay, let's say I want to print hello. So you say print, And since print is a function, okay, all functions will have this square curl normal bracket open and close. Okay, every function. So if print is a function, so print will also have bracket open and close. Okay, point number one. Now, point number two you have to remember here is all the commands in Python, 99.9% command. There are some commands which will be capital. 99.9% commands are lowercase, small letter. Okay. So this is the first command we're going to learn, print. Print is a function. What is a function? Function is a name given to some block of code. That means when I say print, it is going to execute some few lines of code, 3, 4, 5 lines of code, which have been given a name print. And we call this as inbuilt function. Inbuilt function means the developers of Python, when you install Python, automatically you get these functions. Later in our course, we will also learn how to create our own functions. Okay, we will create our own functions. But here, we are going to first, we're going to use inbuilt function. So if you are looking to print something onto the screen, if you are looking to print something onto the screen, we use print. Okay, print is a lowercase, and since it's a predefined meaning, okay, we put bracket open and close. Okay, so far good. Now within this bracket, you can say 3 plus 7. Okay, something. I come out and then I hit enter. You see, you get output here itself. Okay, because it does not wait for us to enter second line, it gives output for every line that you type. We say Python is an interpreted language. Okay, I'll make a note, and this note I will share with you. Python is an interpreted language. Okay, so when you type one command and you hit enter, it will give you the output immediately. And then it's okay, now give me second command. And I'll say here print. Now this time I'm using quotation. Okay, apostrophe, right? The quotation. And here I will say hello. So when you are giving text data, okay, you have to give quotation. That's how Python knows that, okay, it is a quotation. If I don't give this in quotation, if I just type like this, it is trying to evaluate. It is trying to evaluate, perform some operation. So it says hello is not defined. Okay. Here it says, okay, since we gave in quotation, it knows that, okay, I have to print it. So two things we have seen, print without quotation and print with quotation. What is the difference between them? So it is like this thing. If I ask you, what is 3 plus 7? If I ask you, what is 3 plus 7? Then your answer will be 10. And then I'll ask, what is hello? I don't know what is hello. So this is what you get. Now in this case, it's like I'm asking you, repeat after me. Now, when I say repeat after me, then whatever I say doesn't matter to you. I can speak French, Spanish, Arabic, doesn't matter, right? You will just repeat whatever I'm saying. So quotation is like saying to the Python, repeat after me. Okay, so I can say print, bracket open, quotation, whatever, right? Junk, you enter, whatever you type, that is repeated after you. Okay, so here I said Python is an interpreter language. That's why you get output, okay, immediately. Okay, every line is evaluated. But again, if you remember C, C++, Java, those are not like that. Okay, you can write multiple lines of code and then you run them, all of them together. That is called compiler-based language. Okay, so if they ask what is the difference between Python versus Java, Python versus C, so you know that Python is an interpreted language whereas C or Java, they are compiler-based language. Compiler means they will translate entire code at once, okay, from English to machine and from machine to English. But compiler, as I said, will do everything together. But your interpreter language, like SQL is an interpreter language, okay? And we will cover SQL also as part of our course. SQL is an interpreter language. So it takes one line and then evaluates, gives you the output. Then it takes the second language, second line, then the third line, one by one. So translation from English to machine level and from machine level to English is done line by line. Okay? So see, this is enough for you to, install and do your programming. But many times what happens, not many times, often, okay, this is good for learning. Okay, when you're learning, you want to execute each line and you want to see the output. So this is good. But, okay, when you become little experienced and you are writing programming, okay, you know what it means, right? Print means you don't have to get the output immediately. You want to write a complete logic, okay, and then you want to see if my entire logic is working fine or not. Let's say you want to check if a number is prime or not. So you are writing 5-6 lines of code, and then you want to run and see if the output is correct or not, whether it's checking correctly the number is prime or not. So what we prefer an editor. Editor basically means it's a notepad, advanced notepad. Okay, editor basically means you're talking about an advanced notepad. One second. Just give me a second, guys. Just give me a second. Uh, One second, guys. Okay. So I was saying that when you are doing multiple lines of code, correct? When you do multiple lines of code, then this screen, okay, it may not be very helpful because I said if you want to check if the number is prime or not. If you want to check if number is prime or not, then it's better that you write entire code, okay, and then when you write entire code, okay, then you want to check if the output is correct or not, right? Not one by one. So we prefer to use editor. Okay. Now, as I said, editor is an advanced, you can say notepad. Okay. The editor does not have any language built into it. So editor is just an advanced notepad where you have advanced editor where you have ability to, let's say, copy the file, save the file, open the file, edit the file, perform control F, all those things, right? And when you say run the program, then it will connect to Python. So you need to install Python, right? But on top of Python, we need one more software, which will make our programming easy. Okay, and you also have like suggestions. Okay, they'll suggest you, okay, if you make any mistake in the programming, it will even suggest you before you run the program so that you can fix it. So it becomes much easy to 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 work with editors than this command prompt. Okay, so we have many editors. There are two types of software. Okay, one type of software is called editors, right? So your PyCharm is an editor. Visual Studio Code, VS Code by Microsoft, that's an editor. You can use PyCharm. I use PyCharm. So you can use PyCharm, you can use VS Code. These are all editors, okay? Then second type of software that we have, they're called as notebooks. Notebooks. So you have Jupyter Notebook, right? And we also have Google Colab. Okay, so Google Colab, and see guys, if you are already using any software for doing programming, continue to use that. Okay, any software that you are using, you use the same software. Okay, you don't have to change it because of what I'm using. If you are new, you are doing first time Python programming, then you follow what I'm doing, right? You follow PyCharm. But let's say if you have tried some programming before, you have some software installed before, you continue to use that. We are not here to learn tool, but we are here to learn Python. So focus is to learn Python. If you are new, never done Python program, then you follow what I'm following. Okay, you can download PyCharm. I'm going to tell you how to download PyCharm also. But if you are already using any software, you continue to use same software. You don't have to change it. Okay? Any questions so far?
Hi, Sapnil. It's Shivaya.
Yes, Shiva.
Sapnil, I also wanted to understand if there are any significance for the double quotes in
We
Python.
will do that. We'll do that. So just stay with me. Okay?
Sure, sir.
Cross the river when it comes. Okay? Yes. Any
Thank
other
you.
question? No problem. Okay, great. Okay. And guys, just if you don't have any question, if you have, please ask. If you don't have, at least say okay, yes, so that I know you're not sleeping, right? So that way, it's anyway online, right? And if you all become silent, then I will not even know whether I'm talking to human being or talking to screen, correct? So
Okay, sir.
just say okay, yes. Maybe you can type in the chat also if you're not comfortable talking. Okay, but let's make it little interactive.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to take you back to Google Chrome. Okay. So far we have seen how to install Python, correct? Now, we'll talk about Google Colab first and then about other tools. So Google Colab, you can directly type Colab, okay, in Google and just say enter. The first link that it will open is Google Colab. So it is collab.research.google.com, right? This is the link, okay? collab.research.google.com. You don't have to remember, just say Colab or Google Colab, and it will open a link for you. Okay, now you have to, when you are doing it for the first time, you have to log in using your Google account. So for Google Colab, you have to have Google account, okay? So you have to log in using Google account. I'm sure all of you are using Android phone, so you will have Google account, right? Same account you can use it. And then you click on new notebook here. On the bottom left, you will have command called new notebook. Click on new notebook. When you click on new notebook, it will open a Google Colab. Okay. And here you can do your programming. Okay. So same to program which we did, we will run it and see. Now, if you are using Google Colab, okay, advantage is you don't have to install any software. Now, this is provided by Google, and our program will run on Google servers. And already Python and most of the important libraries are already installed there. We don't have to install anything. Okay, you just open and you can start. You can start coding. Okay, that's the best thing. The disadvantage is you need to be always online, right? You have to connect. You have to have internet, right? And let's say you are doing programming at home, right? And you went to visit your friend, right, or a relative. You are Okay, you are at your relative's place. So what happens in that case? Your class will be going on, right? And you don't have your computer to practice. Then you can always open Google Colab and can practice it here, right? So it is, so that's why it's important that you see, even if you're doing on a local machine, please know how to program in Google Colab. This will help you when you don't have access to your computer. So here we'll see same thing. Okay, print 3 plus 7, and I'm going to run. So you see this, okay? The advantage I was saying is if I type PRI, okay? And what happens by mistake, I put N capital and T, right? See, so one advantage you have seen that I'm putting just one bracket, closing bracket is automatically put in by the Google Colab. Okay, so this is closing bracket, okay, automatically. So it saves your time. Now, okay, first time when you're working, right, it has to connect to server. So it will be little slow. When you run it, it will be little slow to connect, but once it's connected, next time it will be faster. First time it will little slow, okay? So now you see that, okay, it has given, of course, print is not defined, and it has given red line here. So if I go back, okay, now I will say N T and 3 plus 7. You run it, see it is faster this time, right? And same thing we'll do, print hello, and you run it, okay? This is what you get the output here, right? And you can continue to write your program here. And now see, until I hit play, until I hit this button, right? It is not going to execute, isn't it? You can keep writing, okay? Print something, it's not executing. But when you say play, well, then it will execute. So in a way, I told you, right? Sometimes you may not want to see the output immediately, right? So this saves our time. Then you can go to file and you can even download your program. So I told you, right, we have two ways, notebook and the editor way of doing programming. Editors will create .py files, okay, .python files. And notebook will create IPNYB, Interactive Python Notebook. That's what IPYNB means, Interactive Python Notebook. And .py is Python file. So what is the advantage of using notebook? Advantage of notebook is that even the output is saved here. Okay, so when I download the notebook page, you will have code and output. Here anyways is text. Let's say you are doing data analysis. You have graphs, plots, okay, you have some complex things. All those will be saved. So you can see the output, okay? But when you download as .py file, you will only get the code. You will not get the output, okay? So your .py files will not give you the output. Will have only have the code, okay? And
Okay.
you can save this file. You can say P1 whatever, and this will be saved in your Google Drive. Okay, so when you do programming in Colab, your data, your files will be saved in Drive. You can have access from anywhere, anytime. You just need internet. That's it. All good, guys, so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll do one more thing and we will end the session here.
Yes, sir.
So today's objective is that you have all your setup ready. Tomorrow when we connect, okay, if you have any questions regarding setup, please ask me. We will make sure that we have the setup ready on your machine before we move ahead. Okay. So the tool which I'm using, okay, PyCharm, it's called PyCharm. So you can say PyCharm download. Okay, PyCharm download. Now, of course, you can click the first link. Now, PyCharm is done by a company called JetBrains. JetBrains is the company which has a product called PyCharm. So when you go to jetbrains.com pycharm/download. Okay, you will see two options. You will see one option which is PyCharm Professional, and second option which is your PyCharm Community. Okay, so this is pure for Python development, and you can download it. It has all the features of professional. Okay, but why it is paid is because it says if you are using Python for making money, if you're developing some applications, then you also pay me. You make money, you give me money. Okay, but if you are using PyCharm for learning, development, training, then you don't have to pay me. So we are here to learn, right? Training, right? Learning. So download this community edition. Sorry, guys. Download this community edition. Okay. Clicking here and then just install it. You don't have to worry about anything in PyCharm. Download and just install the PyCharm, and your PyCharm will get downloaded. Okay. Don't use professional. Professional after 30 days will create a lot of problems. Okay, so do not even go professional. Download community edition. Okay, so when you download, right, your PyCharm screen, this is my PyCharm. Now your PyCharm will be different than my PyCharm because I have customized it. Okay, I have made fonts bigger. I have made background white. By default, your font will be smaller. Background will be black. You can always change the settings. Okay. Okay, so don't worry about the look. Your PyCharm will look different. What happens when you when you launch PyCharm, you will get a screen like this. Okay, black color screen, but you'll be something like this. And here you will create a new project. Click on new project. When you click on new project, it will ask you where do you want to put the project. You want to put your programs in D drive, you can put D drive. Wherever you want to put. It'll just project means it is just a folder which will have all your files. That's it. Project means here there's no connection or thing like that. It's just a folder where your Python files will be there. That's it. So you can change your drive. You can change the path. Okay. So you give one path where you want all your Python files to be there. Keep in mind, do not give spaces. Not that it will not work, but we should learn to not to give spaces because giving spaces to file names, folder names can create problems. Okay. So try not to give spaces. There are mechanisms. It's not that if you give, you cannot run at all. You can, but try not to give spaces in the project in the project name or file name or the folder name. And you should install PyCharm after installing Python, so that it will be able, PyCharm will be able to know where your Python is. Because I told you, editors are just a nice looking editors. It does not have programming capability. It depends upon Python. Okay, so it will look for Python path. So this is my Python path. Okay, if you have multiple Python, you will get multiple Python. But if you have only one, automatically it will pick, it will read. That's another advantage of putting in, adding path to, add exe to path. Because PyCharm will go to path and will fetch the path for Python. If you do not do it, then manually you'll have to go and give the path. You can still do it, okay? You click on this three dot and then go here, browse, and give the path here. But if you have already added, automatically PyCharm will be able to pick the path. And then you say create. Okay, so first screen you say a new project, then second screen you add the path, you add the Python location, and then you say create. I'm not going to do that. When you say create, you will see something like this here, the project name, right? And it will be all blank because you have not done programming so far. It will be all blank. Now you go right click on it and say new Python file. Okay. Now you can give any file name. I give, let's say, 18. I hit enter. So py18 has been opened. Okay. So this is how you add a new file to your project. Every program you do, try to put it in a new file so that you have the record, right? Now I go to P18 and I say same command, print 3 plus 7. See, I'm hitting enter, but it is not giving, it's not executing because I have to manually execute it. So this is what I was saying. See, the moment I type PR, it is giving me all the options. Now, when you are doing advanced programming, you may not remember all the function names. So when you remember at least first two character, you type and it'll give you suggestions, right? These are all available. Okay, these are all resources available with 2 characters PR, starting with PR. This is what I want, print. I just go and hit enter. Okay, so it completed and also added bracket open and close because I told you these are functions. So it will give you bracket open and close. Now I want to print hello, right? So I give hello. Now let's say I forget to give this quotation. So see, PyCharm is already underlining with red. So when you see red, you know something is wrong here, something is not correct. Oh, I missed the closing quotation. So then you add the quotation here. Now to run it, P18, right click on the P18 file name, not here. So if you see PyCharm, there are 3 screens here. Left side is your file browser, right side is your editor, and on bottom you have the output. Output will come in the bottom here. This is the file browser. You can go to one file to another. And this is your editor here. P18, on the file name, you right click, and here you will see run P18. Or the shortcut is Control Shift F10. So you can do Control Shift F10 or go and say run P18. I'm going to hit P18 and you see output is displayed here. Okay. So we'll stop here for today. Today the focus was to see how to install Python, what is Python, different editors, and print function. Okay. Any question before we end the session? Tomorrow expectation is that all of you should have your environment, whether you choose PyCharm or Jupyter Note or Visual Studio Code or even Google Colab, doesn't matter. But you should be able to run these 2 lines of code just to make sure that your PyCharm or whatever editor is working fine. And then from tomorrow we'll start into programming. We'll focus on programming.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Sure, guys. If there are questions, we'll end it here and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Good
sir.
morning.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, sir.
Yes.
Well,